Shalom, everyone. Shana Tova. Hope you're already having a sweet start to your new year. I want to tell you that I love being a rabbi. I know I made the right career choice. I was going to be a doctor, but rabbi is so much better. I get to do what I love. I get to live a part of Judaism every day, all day. I get to interact with wonderful people. I get to be part of a holy community. It's a win-win. And I will tell you that the best part about being a rabbi is that I really only have to count to 10. Just have to count a minyan, just to 10, because I don't like numbers. I am not a math guy. And so I picked the right profession. Don't have to do the numbers, don't have to do any math. I rely on Siri for that. Usually math baffles me pretty quickly. Look at it, pretty baffled, move on, ask Siri. The baffling concept, by the way, continues, I think, for all of us, as I'm speaking to you, not in the congregation, not in our sanctuary, but on a computer screen. And that this chat, this sermonette is all wrapped up for both Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And so I wanted to take a piece of text from Yom Kippur. On Yom Kippur morning, we read from a Torah portion called Nitzavim, which means to stand or standing. And in the Torah portion, it has this really fabulous line. Ki ha-mitzvah azot asher anochi metzavcha hayom lo nifleti mimcha velo rechoka hi velo b'shamayim hi. Surely, this instruction which I enjoin upon you this day is not too baffling for you, nor is it beyond your reach. It is not in the heavens. What the text tells us is that the instruction, this mitzvah, this connection we have, is not baffling. It's not beyond our reach. It's not high up in the heavens. And so I want us to continue to think about that word baffling, because we're definitely amidst something completely baffling, and that's the pandemic. I'm sure I don't have to tell you. It's global. Every person is affected. So much pain, death, sickness, complicated lives, impromptu distance learning. We're teachers and chefs and cooks and doing 1,000 things all at the same time. We have food deliveries, our work balance is off. There's no off switch. It's totally global, and it's stretching us so far that Dr. Ann Maston, a psychologist and professor of child development at the University of Minnesota, identifies something called surge capacity, a collection of adaptive systems, mental and physical, that humans draw on for short-term survival in acutely stressful situations like natural disasters. But natural disasters occur over a short period, even if recovery is long. Pandemics are different. The disaster itself stretches out seemingly indefinitely. I know we've been counting the days here in my house, 183 days of this complete strangeness. There have been days where we're in pajamas, days we're in sweatpants, all the terms being thrown around like the quarantinis and the different memes we joke about, but are also very reliant upon the Instacarts and the Zooms and the Amazons. All of these things pushed together. The number perhaps most interesting, 28 million cases worldwide. That's baffling. We were so filled with unity, I think, in April and May. We were all connected. We drew pictures and put them in our windows for all the delivery drivers. We had these humanity-filled moments, and I don't know. I feel like now it's a little bit off. I think politics are involved, and going back to school or not going back to school. I think there is some unrest where there was, I think, a global connection. And so I find that baffling. I find it baffling that we kind of slid out of that connective time that we had with one another. But I'll tell you what's not baffling, what is not beyond our reach, and that is masks. Masks, any mask, cloth, surgical, face shield, N95, K95. It doesn't matter. Please wear a mask. Please wear a mask. Please tell the person next to you to wear a mask. You can be kind about it or just kind of move away from them. Masks are not baffling. They are not. They are not baffling. And once again, the text reminds us, surely on Yom Kippur, on Rosh Hashanah, on these high holidays, this instruction, this mitzvah, this idea of being together, of being unified, this instruction that I enjoin upon you this day is not too baffling for you. It's not out of reach. It's not in the heavens. Things should not be baffling. And yet, what is baffling? Racial justice is not being fulfilled. We need to push for racial justice. I will tell you, I'm a rabbi, and so I say the words Baruch Atah Adonai. I say the word bracha. That root, bet reish kaf, means blessing. All the time I say it. But bet reish kaf also has the root word berech, and berech means knee. And so we quickly found out that that word berech can switch quickly from blessing to something else. And I find it baffling that in 2020, we're witnesses to a Minnesota police officer using his knee on George Floyd's neck. That is not the root of bet reish kaf that I want. We can do better than that. In fact, the CCAR, the Central Conference of American Rabbis, they're a body that kind of houses the Reform rabbis. We add our voices to those throughout the nation in demanding justice once again. Lethal reality of systematic racism, that is baffling. We shouldn't be baffled, but it's baffling. Black lives matter, period. We all must fight for racial justice and equality. The ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, backs us up and affirms that there should be no disagreement or dispute over a simple proclamation of humanity. And yet the need to assert that Black Lives Matter, this sadly is made clear by the deaths of Trayvon Martin, of Tamir Rice, of Michael Brown, of Eric Garner, of Sandra Bland, Stephen Clark, Ahmaud Arbery, Rayshard Brooks, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and so many others. The ADL remains committed to their historic mission to stop the defamation of the Jewish people and secure justice and fair treatment for all. Are we doing all of this? Are we committed to doing this? This is not baffling. It is not difficult. Look, during the civil rights era, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel joined with Martin Luther King on the march from Selma to Montgomery, a very popular story. This is where Rabbi Heschel coined the term that he prayed with his feet as he walked. We as individuals and communities need to continue that march. It's a beautiful moment for us, but that moment was 55 years ago. 55 years ago. We have to renew that. We must fight and connect and study and understand civil rights and racial justice. And if you need help, by the way, the Reform movement has got your back. RAC.org, the Religious Action Center, RAC.org has everything you need to know if you need some assistance, if we need some assistance. Racial justice should not be baffling, and yet it is. Let's change that because it isn't beyond our reach, like our text says. Look, our lives are in disarray. There is no one on earth that can't be affected by this virus. It's baffling. But let's look at the text again. Surely this instruction which I enjoin upon you this day is not too baffling for you, nor is it beyond reach. It is not in the heavens. So I want us to take that concept and I want to connect it to this article by Rabbi Nicole Guzik. I want to get her name correct. Rabbi Sinai Temple in Los Angeles. And she reminds us about the sanctity of community, especially about the pandemic. She reminds us that many cannot afford to rejoin our communities, that these are the members who must hear and feel our support and our love. But she also reminds us about those who question the spiritual nourishment of online services, who feel disconnected without in-person gathering and have the means to continue to join sacred communities. This section of my talk is for you. The love we have for Judaism, and the more we reflect on it and connect to it, the more important it will be, not just for us, but for our children, because we are the ones who pave the way for them. We are the ones who show them the importance of Jewish education. We are the ones who help develop their Jewish identities. Please, let's not create a situation where we pause Judaism based on whether or not religious school will be in person or online. This doesn't teach our children anything. Jewish commitment to community within the pandemic is exactly what we need. And because of this pandemic, the choice of opting out of community becomes tempting. But when temptation leads us away from strengthening our bonds as a people, and even worse, when we show our kids that it is okay to not be part of community, then opting out becomes dangerous. Opting out or taking a break, choosing whether or not to belong to a synagogue, deciding to not support nonprofit institutions. This is not what we should be doing right now. I find the words taking a year off in regards to Judaism baffling. But this is not beyond our reach. Opt in, please opt in. Community is the remedy that spiritually heals. Everyone who decides to sit this one out is chipping away at the core of Judaism. Now is not the time for us to sit on the sidelines when things get rough. The Jewish people run in. We don't run out. Please, let's not decide to opt out of Judaism. If we opted out every time things got tough, there would be no Jewish people. As humans, we are clearly no match for nature. Fires right now blazing on the West Coast, hurricanes swirling in from the Atlantic, and of course the pandemic. There are some things we can control, like math. I mean, not me, but you. We should collectively fight for racial justice. We can control that. And opting out isn't an issue. Opting in, we can control that. Opting out is not for the Jewish people. You're probably sitting on your couch. It's the high holidays. It's pretty baffling. But as we enter 5781, let's unbaffle. Together as a community, we can continue to go from strength to strength. That goal is not high up in the heavens, and it's definitely not beyond our collective reach. I hope you all have a happy, healthy, and sweet start to the new year. Shana Tova.